Hey my dears, first of all, click the like button so you don't forget, okay? This helps me a lot, thank you.
肥沃の鳥というらしい。
その鳥は片方の翼しか持たず、
オスとメス、つがいで寄り添わなければ
空を飛べない不完全な生き物。
だけど
私は
僕はそんな命のあり方を美しいと感じてしまったのだ。
For 1,000 years into the future, humanity was nearly exterminated by the Kloxosaur giants. The only hope for survival lay in the FranXX, a super-powered mecha that unleashed legendary abilities when a boy piloted it with a girl. However, Hiro was deemed a total failure after being unable to get excited while piloting with his partner Naomi, resulting in Naomi's execution. Aimlessly wandering, Hiro roamed without purpose until he saw some clothes and a beautiful, seductive silhouette in the lake.
Nice.
He felt embarrassed, but noticed she had disappeared. Worried she might be drowning, Hiro ran to save her, but she suddenly emerged with a fish in her mouth, revealing all she had to offer. He was impressed by her stunning beauty, highlighted by her peculiar red horns. As she got dressed, she noticed he must be some kind of pervert since he was holding her underwear. She laughed at his reaction, but thanked him after realizing he had entered the water just to save her. They talked about Hiro being a parasite, the term for FranXX pilots. She denied it, pointing out that he was the only one who couldn't pilot. The girl said they were alike, but he could always try to find another partner. She then came closer, grabbed him, licked his face, and they fell into the water together. She remarked that he had an interesting taste, a strong flavor that lingered. Oh my, what a couple. The pink-haired girl liked him and asked if he wanted to be her darling, suggesting that his ability might just be dormant and that she could ignite his flame. This struck Hiro deeply, igniting a spark of hope within him. But when Hiro tried to take her hand, a group of men appeared, asking why she had fled. She explained that she needed a break. As they were about to leave, Hiro asked for her name. She found this strange since parasites don't have names, so she said her code was 002, but everyone called her 02, and she disappeared from his sight. While watching Naomi being taken for execution, a giant emerged from the ground, causing Naomi's container to fall out of sight. Several cannons began firing at the giant, causing it to topple and collide with the fortress, making Hiro fall off the grid. Realizing the monster was heading towards his friends, Hiro ran after it, but soon noticed a second monster. At that moment, a giant tried to attack a young pilot, but was stopped by a FranXX that began tearing it apart. The giant transformed its tail into a giant weapon and launched it, firing an energy blast that was repelled by the FranXX, creating an intense light that sent the robot flying towards Hiro. Seeing an injured man fall from the FranXX, Hiro discovered 02 inside, who informed him that the man was dead. When he wondered how she would pilot alone, 02 explained that she always devoured her partners and never feared for her own life. Nevertheless, Hiro volunteered to become her new partner, saying he had nothing to lose if he died. 02 replied that they were alike and said she really liked him and was eager to see him pilot deep inside her robot. She then pulled him close, saying that he was now her darling, and gave him a passionate kiss. I got goosebumps, my god. At that moment, the FranXX began to energize and simultaneously, the Kloxosaur advanced toward the fortress. However, the FranXX started pushing it back, upgrading from the united souls of Hiro and 02 before hurling it away. Then, their FranXX launched a spear at the second monster and flew toward it. When they collided with it, they released poisonous gas inside and caused it to explode into a thick smoke. With the monsters defeated, 02 emerged from the FranXX carrying Hiro, and everyone recognized her as the partner killer. And so we discovered that 02 is part of the Special Forces and has Kloxosaur blood. In the end, she is very happy because she found her darling. Hey my dears, have you ever wanted to draw your own anime character, or even become a professional artist? Dude, check this out. Anime Art Academy brings together professional artists from Japan. You can actually learn from real mangakas. And you know the best part? You can start for free to get a taste of the journey. Check out the art from one of the professors. Hot, right? The link is in the description, okay? The next day, Hiro arrived at the boarding house and found Ichigo waiting for him. However, as he began to leave, she asked if he had really controlled the FranXX in battle, to which he replied that he had no memories of the event, but was looking to pilot the robot again to be sure. Ichigo warned him that Zero Two's partners usually died after their third ride together and asked him to stay away from her so he wouldn't meet the same fate, but Hiro couldn't stop thinking about Zero Two and was eager to pilot with her again. Another pilot named Garo appeared and told him that Zero Two was in their cafeteria. Inside the hall, teenage pilots began to stare at the girl as she savored a piece of honey-coated meat, wondering who she was. Zoroark, who was rather useless and hopeless, decided to try his luck and expressed his desire to pilot with her until they reached the skies, but she just wiped her greasy hand on his clothes, making him squeal like a little girl. Before long, she sat down next to Hiro and decided to ask him to taste the meat. Seizing the opportunity, Hiro asked her if he had truly controlled the robot. She confirmed it and declared him her darling, leaving the teenagers in shock. Looks like someone got jealous. Nana entered the hall and introduced herself to everyone, stating that she was their new caretaker and would be in charge of all their duties. When Zero Two started to leave, Hiro begged to pilot with her once more, as he had only briefly reached the skies before. However, Nana stated that only the squad leader could make that decision. Inside the elevator, Nana warned Zero Two to stay away from Hiro and the other pilots, believing she would be a bad influence on them. In the Leaders' Council, they discussed Zero Two's performance with individual 016, Hiro. Strelitzia, Zero Two's FranXX, showed a much superior performance alongside Hiro, and they are interested in this. After that, the people at Base 13 prepare for their first real training in the FranXX. Hiro was the first to do this with Zero Two, staying ahead of the others. In the FranXX, the pilot's brains and souls connect as one, so compatibility is essential. The next day, Zero Two encountered Ichigo and Garo, but after distancing herself, Ichigo decided to ask why she chose Hiro as her partner. When Zero Two refused to answer, Ichigo told her to stay away from him, fearing he would be left heartbroken. Seeing through her feeble lie, Zero Two stared at her and licked her face menacingly before leaving. That night, Zoroark kicked a ball at Hiro and began to taunt him, calling him a useless coward pretending to be a hero like his stupid name suggested. Irritated by his words, Hiro confronted him, but Ichigo and Garo rushed to separate them. After a few days, the sergeant informed Hiro that he would have a battle in a FranXX, and a victory would promote him to be a parasite. When told to choose a partner, Zero Two offered to pilot with him, but Ichigo insisted she was a stranger to the group and volunteered to pilot instead, which Nana accepted. Disappointed with the outcome, Zero Two started to leave, prompting Zoroark to challenge Hiro to the battle, hoping to humiliate him and threaten to crush him like candy. That night, as everyone gathered to watch the battle, Ichigo advised Hiro to focus on strengthening their connection, as they could only energize the robot through their emotional bond. They began to connect, energizing the FranXX as they approached Zoroark's robot. Seeing that it was indeed working, Hiro thought they could win the battle and suggested they destroy their opposition immediately. However, as he drew his weapon, it fell before Zoroark could strike, mysteriously shutting down. Inside the FranXX, Hiro attempted to reboot it but realized it was futile. Ichigo asked if she was the reason he couldn't get up and wondered how he was able to pilot with Zero Two. Hiro told her their kiss had mysteriously brought the robot to life, but he had been too foolish to realize what they were truly doing. Seeking to give it another chance, Ichigo suggested they kiss, so she covered his eyes and kissed him. When it was over, they realized the robot was still dormant and their kiss was fake. Suddenly, Zoroark knocked their robot down and attempted to finish it off, but it froze in that instant and fell. Irritated by their disappointment, Ichigo began to energize the robot herself and charged at her opponent before crushing it at the fortress and leaving both robots destroyed. Inside the FranXX, Ichigo began to cry over her failure and called Hiro useless, convinced he hadn't made a genuine attempt to connect with her. The next day, when they met outside the examination room, Hiro tried to apologize to her, but she was summoned at that moment. Later that day, Hiro told Garo he would try to pilot with Zero Two for the second time, but Garo warned him he was risking his life after reminding him of all his previous partners who died in battle. However, Hiro was determined and told him he was completely useless if he wasn't piloting any robot. The next day, Hiro spotted Zero Two alone, but as he began to look at her, she said she was waiting for him and asked him to follow her. After she entered a new passage, the system prevented Hiro from passing. Zero Two revealed her Class S identification, granting her access to all areas of the facility. As she ran towards Hiro, she grabbed him and led him through the system. When they arrived outside, Hiro discovered a beautiful city before him and wondered how Zero Two was able to find it. She told him she had been to various facilities and knew her way around, as they were all built on a similar structure. Hiro told her he had never been to the city, as everyone was born and raised within the fortress, but he was curious to see what it was like. He told her he would like to give her a new name, but she said she liked her name and jumped onto a pole before walking along it. She wondered if he would like to run away and suggested they escape from the fortress, but Hiro was too scared to respond. The next day, Nana informed the teenagers they would go on their first mission to annihilate smaller Cloxosaur that had appeared outside the facility. The sergeant told them the Cloxosaur were attracted to magma energy reactions and had appeared in the level 8 mine, destroying the system. Nana said Hiro would not join them on the mission as he was unable to pilot a robot, and they would have to rely solely on themselves. Before long, they reached level 8 and began to venture out, encountering a Cloxosaur devouring a system. Ichigo's robot charged towards it, and as she stabbed it, she pulled it down so a second robot could catch it, allowing Zorome to impale it. With their success, Zorome began to celebrate and said the mission was like taking candy from a baby. Ichigo told him to destroy its core immediately, but as he attempted to impale it, it jumped onto his robot and began to attack him, causing Miku to faint. Fortunately, Futoshi pushed it away, allowing Ichigo to stab the core. However, another Cloxosaur appeared before them, and several more began to appear. Realizing they had no chance of exterminating them, Ichigo suggested they flee before being killed by the monsters. At the same time, in the facility, Zero Two told Nana she was willing to rescue the pilots, so Hiro offered to support her. However, the sergeant said Hiro was weak and would only cause more harm than good. Zero Two decided to confront Nana, trying to persuade her to accept, but Nana said she wasn't authorized to pilot the FranXX with Hiro. Mitsuru suggested they pilot together and told Nana that she was the only hope to rescue the team, as Hiro, the loser, could pilot her like a man. Mitsuru thought he could drive it twice as hard, but Zero Two told him to go fuck himself, because he was a cocky, useless person. However, Hiro didn't think it was right due to his pride in his friends' lives, so he asked Zero Two to go with Mitsuru. Zero Two obviously doesn't like it very much, but accepts his darling's request. And they began to depart. Meanwhile, on level 8, Miku finally regained consciousness, so the team supported Ichigo to hold a gate as the Cloxosaur continued to collide with it. However, when the team learned that Zero Two was coming to rescue them, Ichigo thought she was piloting with Hiro, and her distraction caused her robot to shut down, allowing the monsters to destroy the gate. They then began to flee as the monsters chased them. It didn't take long for them to realize they were trapped, and a huge Cloxosaur appeared before their eyes, but when it tried to devour them, Zero Two landed on top of it and impaled it until it exploded in front of them. As new monsters began to gather, the FranXX impaled another monster, and Mitsuru began to proclaim himself the greatest pilot in history and that Hiro was the most useless person he had ever met. As he began to slice and obliterate the monsters, trying to test his full ability, Zero Two decided to give her all in the battle and faced another large Cloxosaur. When the FranXX were pulled to the surface, Zero Two emerged from it unharmed, but Mitsuru was unconscious and severely injured. The next day, when Mitsuru looked like he had seen a ghost, Hiro decided to ask him what happened inside the FranXX. Mitsuru said Zero Two was a crazy psychopath who tried to devour his soul and, catching Hiro, warned him to stay away from her or she would kill him like she did with her other partners. That afternoon, Ichigo decided to ask Hiro if he was still determined to continue with Zero Two, as she feared he would meet his end if he kept risking his luck. Hiro told her he had no intentions of giving up, so she said she wouldn't try to stop him anymore and decided to leave. However, the next day, when Hiro saw Zero Two, he remembered Mitsuru's words and immediately hid. However, as he was soaking in a pool, 02 appeared before him and followed him into the water, asking if he would like to develop the plot with her. When Hiro was too scared to respond, she told him he was the only person suitable to be her partner and that they could have special babies with his seed.
Yes! 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 Yes!
Oh my god, what a hot girl. But at that moment, an alarm began to sound throughout the facility. Outside the fortress, 4 robots began to approach the KISSINGi to stop it before it reached the installation. When one of the robots began to retreat, the KISSINGi chased it, but another robot impaled it in a trap. As it tried to free itself, the other robots caught it and stabbed it before bringing it down. With the monster subdued, the team wondered if they had defeated it as they couldn't find its core. However, it suddenly captured Zorome and trapped the team with strange objects. Ichigo tried to hurry, but she fell into the sand and got stuck with the rest of the team. At the same time, Hiro and 02 ran to Nana in hopes of joining the battle, but she said their presence wasn't needed. At that moment, a group of soldiers arrived and surrounded 02, saying headquarters was demanding her return to the front line. But when a soldier touched her, she threw him across the room, causing the others to point their lasers at her. Realizing the odds were against her, 02 told Hiro she would go to a different facility, but she was sad she couldn't stay by his side, so she bid farewell and began to leave. After she was gone, Hiro asked Nana if 02 really killed her previous partners inside the FranXX. Nana told him 02 was a special girl being used for battle on the front line, and that each battle had a negative impact on her partners, causing them to die. She said 02 was a strange alien from an unknown planet, and that her abilities couldn't be compared to those of an ordinary human. Hearing those words, Hiro realized he had misjudged her intentions and began to run. Soon, he started shouting her name and banging on the system, but she walked away from him. Desperate for her to listen to him, he began to recite his best lines as a lovesick boy and told her she could become his Discord kitten as she helped him regain his ability to stand up. He wanted to ride her until they reached the sky and release all his energy into her body. Hearing those words, 02 stopped walking, pleased to hear his confession. When she jumped on a soldier, she grabbed his gun and began shooting at the glass before leaping towards him and breaking it. She told Hiro that nobody had ever recited a love poem to her and asked him to say it again, so he said he wanted to ride her until they reached the sky and release his energy into her. Delighted with his confession, she suggested they save the team first. Advancing, 02 kicked a soldier, and they began to run to their robots as they prepared to activate them. Nana told them to return immediately, but 02 told her to screw off and cut off the communication. Soon, the FranXX emerged and flew towards the battle. At rocket speed, she collided with the KISSINGi, finally freeing the team. Hiro said he would destroy the monster's tail, so the team decided to attack its head. As the monster threw strange objects at the FranXX, she blocked them and pulled the tail before releasing gas into it. However, they found the core was missing. As it disappeared into the ground, the FranXX chased it. Soon, she emerged from the ground and, hitting the tail, a large worm came out of the ground and fell into the sand. To finish it off, Ichigo jumped on top and stabbed its tail. Realizing the opportunity, the rest of the team stabbed it and managed to immobilize it. Then, Hiro decided to finish it off. As the FranXX freed themselves, she jumped to the other side and pierced the monster, destroying it from the inside and emerging with the core as it exploded into thick smoke. That night, as the system announced that 2 facilities would merge in a kiss procedure, Zorome began to wonder if they would have to kiss, so Ano told him the procedure involved transferring magma fuel reserves from one facility to another, as the fuel was used to operate the robots. As the team began to worry that the KISSINGi would attack them, Hiro said he would protect them with his FranXX. A few days later, the team had their graduation ceremony and was promoted to parasites, but the next morning, Garo noticed that Hiro looked sick. In the bathroom, he decided to ask how he was feeling, but Hiro said he was fine. Later, the team thanked Hiro for rescuing them in the battle against the KISSINGi, but he only wished they considered him a team member. However, when Zorome began to say he was just lucky in the battle, Hiro decided to make amends with him, realizing that the boy was just useless. So they shook hands. As they began to enter the cafeteria, 02 appeared before Hiro and led him to a table for breakfast. After pouring honey on the food, 02 fed Hiro with a bite. Inside the boys' dormitory, 02 began to jump on the bed and told Hiro she would live with them in the retirement home, but the news shocked the boys. Sensing the boys were uncomfortable with her presence, Hiro decided to take 02 away. That night, Ichigo showed 02 a new room, saying she would have to sleep there and follow all the rules if she wanted to continue living with them. However, 02 thought she was trying to control her and said she preferred to stay with Hiro and snuggle with him in his bed. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Hiro was feeling very ill, and upon touching his heart, he knew something was terribly wrong with him. After Goro found him sick in his room, he opened his shirt and discovered a large scar on his heart. But when he tried to activate the emergency alarm, Hiro stopped him and, after drinking a glass of water, told Garo he was still determined to pilot the FranXX one more time. Garo thought he was crazy and reminded him he could die in the next attempt, but Hiro said he had never felt more alive and asked him not to tell anyone about his health condition, as he thought it would jeopardize his chances of piloting a robot again. The next day, the sergeant told the team and another team that 100 Cloxosaur had been discovered several miles away and were approaching the fortress at great speed. As they intended to perform another KISS procedure, he said the new team would protect both installations, while Ichigo's team would serve as support. When Hiro and 02 entered the room, Nana said they would participate in the mission. However, the new team thought 02 was a useless threat who didn't care about her allies, and one of the boys began to say they wouldn't go to battle with her, as she had caused the death of his partner a few years ago. 02 told him she had no memories of her friends as she had lost too many partners to count. Irritated by her words, the boy tried to approach her, but Hiro stood in his way and promised to keep her under control. That night, as the team returned to their retirement home, Goro tried to suggest they exclude 02 from the team, but Hiro interrupted him, realizing he was about to reveal his secret, and said it was better to keep 02 as an ally. That same night, Hiro began to tremble in his bed as his illness worsened. Frustrated by this discovery, Garo decided to sit outside the retirement home, but soon spotted Ichigo and 02 heading towards the forest. Ichigo told 02 she should behave when they went on the mission, but 02 told her to screw off and started to leave. However, Ichigo managed to stop her and told her not to push Hiro beyond his limits so he wouldn't die like her other partners. 02 told her to mind her own business and called Hiro her darling, saying that he chose her as his partner and that if he died, he would be useless. Upon hearing these words, Ichigo slapped her in the face and called her a heartless psychopath, saying that she truly wasn't human. Immediately, 02's eyes began to shine with anger as she asked what was so special about humans anyway. Fortunately, it started to rain, so 02 looked up at the sky in surprise and forgot her anger. When Ichigo returned home, she found Garo waiting outside, and he tossed her a blanket to dry off. He said he had seen her arguing with 02, but decided to stay away from the conflict. She started to say that she felt useless because she couldn't emotionally connect with Hiro and thought something was wrong with her, and she began to cry. The next day, 02 and Hiro walked together on the wet ground, the same place where they first met. Hiro is still here thanks to her, who gave him the chance to pilot a FranXX. He belongs to her, only her. None of 02's partners managed to pilot a FranXX more than 3 times. She finds this very sad and unbearable, but at the same time, it's beautiful. There is still time for Hiro to give up, and she gives him this chance, but he refuses. He would never give up. This makes 02 so happy that she begins to skip and dance joyfully. Even if the wings he gains someday break, he will fly until the end because he feels that this is what he was born to do. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see the next part, okay? See you then.